In this video, we're going to focus on how we can create a pointer on a half donut chart where we point out a certain value but also indicate the percentage of it. As you can see here, if I refresh, there we are. So let's start to look how we can do this. So let's start to draw a pointer on the half donut chart in React ChartJS. So what we're going to do here now, we have this half donut slice. We're going to now convert it with a pointer to point it on a certain value with some text as well. So to do this, we go into here, our Doughnut chart.js, and then in here, I have to create two things. First of all, I have to create a new plugin. I'm going to say constant here, and we're going to give this a plugin a proper name. We can just call this our Doughnut pointer. And then we're going to say it like that, id equals the Doughnut pointer, and we're going to say we want to draw this after the donut slice has been drawn. So we say here after data sets, draw, chart, arcs, and plugin options. Then we can go here and we're going to say constant, and we're going to do here an object destructuring. If you don't know object destructuring, check out in the video link below in the description box. There's a video understanding chart.js object destructuring. So what I want to do here is I want to have the CTX because I want to draw on the canvas, and I will grab the data because we might need the data. Those two only probably. So what I need to do here is the following. I want to have a arc, and then we need to have the line being drawn on top of it. So how to do this? To do this, I need to work with rotations, and I need to work with the translate. However, that sounds all very complicated. Don't worry about it. We're going to start with the very basics. The first thing what we need to know here is what is the total sum here. For example, if I have, this is 6 points and this is 3 points. If I want to hit on this point here, that is 6 in total, because this total is 9. So I need to calculate all the values that I have here and sum them all together. So to do this, I'm going to say here the total value, and the total value is the function, let's call this sum array, and we need here the array value. And what I'm going to do is I want to return that item here. So we're going to say return the array or whatever the parameter is. That should be an array, and we say here reduce, because that's what we want to do. We want to reduce it to one single value. Say for every value, the current value, what we're going to do here, function error expression, and then we're going to add them up. So we're going to say plus every new value in the array with the current plus the current, and then we start from 0. Doing this, we're not done yet because we don't have an array yet. So what I need to do now is to create the array value, and the array value is basically this one here. So how do I grab that one? Here. So to grab that one, we have here the data, and we're going to just grab this item and make a new array out of it. So we're going to say here, let's see what we can do here. We can say a constant, the data point array equals the data sets index 0. We only have one data set index, and then we say here just dot data and then dot map. The map method creates a new array of our existing array here, which is this reference there. So in here, I'm just going to indicate here for every data point or index function error expression. Let's move that down there. There we are. Hold on, I'll just change the view of this. Alright, so I just add up here a word wrap so it will be easier to read. So what I want to do here then is I want to just grab that and say return the data point. Then we should have, if I do a console log, we should have our array or a data point array. Refresh, console log, we don't have it yet. So let me explain why we don't have this yet, because this data for Doughnut pointer has not been added in the plugin. So I'm going to say here plugins equals curly braces and then brackets, put that in there, save, refresh, there we are. Now as you can see here, it loops through it and it gives us the value. So what I want to do now, of course, is the sum array function. We should be able to get now the total value. Save that, refresh, 9. Alright, so this is all correct. 6 plus 3 equals 9. So we have this here. This can be our total sum now. So we say constant total sum. Total sum equals this. Alright, there we are. So now we have this. Let's make it like that. What I want to do now is, because this value here will eventually calculate our percentage and how many percent or how far we need to rotate. So let's start to draw the shape. So what I'm going to do here is, oh, hold on, we probably need to have the percentage. Let's get the percentage value as well. So we're going to say here, constant data point percentage. And that will be whatever the value is divided by. And for now, what I will do is I'll just grab here this value, number 3, and that will be like the highlighter. But later on, we can change that by putting a specific value. Or let's say here 6. I want to have that 6 divided by the total sum. And then we say here multiplied by 100. And we should have here console log the percentage. Copy that, save, refresh. There we are, we get the percentage here. So what I want to do now is basically this value will help us to give us the rotation here. So let's start to draw the shape first. So we're going to say here for the pointer, we're going to say here ctx dot save, because I want to save all variables above. Then what I want to do here, and this is the save is very important for that one, we're going to create the shape first. So ctx dot begin path. That will mean that we're going to create a shape independent of anything else. Then what I want to do is give it a color. So we're going to ctx.fill style. I'll just make this black for now. Then I'm going to ctx.rounded or round rectangle. This is a function that gives us the ability to create a rounded, basically a rectangle with rounded borders if desired. So what I'm going to say here, I need the x, the y, the width, the height, and the radius of the rounded border. I'll just make this 5 pixels, and everything else we're going to start calculating. So what do I need to have here? For now, I'll just say here, I will start at 0, and the y will be at 50, and the width will be, let's say, 10 pixels, and the height will be 50 pixels. We're just going to create a shape for now to have a visual. Then I'm going to say ctx.fill to draw the shape. Save that, refresh, we get something here. So right now we have this here, but what I want to make sure it is in the right position. So what we're going to do here is we're going to work with the translate. But what I want to do before we do anything else, I need to position this here. This here is basically the center position of our Doughnut chart. So that will mean we need to get this coordinate here and put that in here, and from there on we're going to calculate. So to get that, what I'm going to do here up, just say here console log, and just give you the way how to do that. You say here chart dot get dataset meta, and then we say here index 0, we only have one data set anyway, and then we say from the data we can do index 0 as well, and then dot x. What this gives us is the coordinate, the exact coordinate of 446 at this point here, how many pixels it needs to go to the left. So what we could do is just do the same, but then for y, save, refresh, and now we have here the y and the x coordinates, or x and y coordinates. So what I'm going to say here now, const, then we can say center x equals this, and then here const center y equals that. Grab this, put it in here, and then here center y. Save that, refresh, and now if you look very carefully, you will see a little bit only, because it goes, apparently it draws from this point going down. So what I could do here, if I say for center y minus 50 pixels, because we have 50 pixels drawing, it goes up here. Alright, so this is for us important. What I really want to do is to get the center here, but this center has a weird number of 400 plus. Then making the rotation can be very tricky. So what I want to do is to do a reset of the coordinates and say this is 0, 0. So what I'm going to do here is ctx.translate, and I will say now the x and y coordinates here equals is now the new reset point. So that will mean that this is 0 and this is 0. And then if I save this, refresh, alright, we get now this weird effect. And the reason why is we have the save here, that's correct, but because of translation or translate, it creates this effect. So what I want to do here is say ctx.restore immediately after. So it will undo and go back to this saving point that we have. So let's save that, refresh. There you are. Now it looks back quite normal. But you can see here nothing really changes except that this is now 0, 0 coordinate. So that will mean from this point on we could go up and figure out, for example, the thickness. So let's push this up, because right now we have here a thickness of, we don't know exactly, or well, we have a hard-coded one, but we want to make it soft-coded. So to do that, what I want to do here is get another item, say constant, and I'm going to say here to calculate the thickness, I'm going to say inner radius. And then what I'm going to do is just going to copy all of this and copy this one here, say inner radius. Very straightforward. What this does is get the coordinate here of inner radius. And what I really need to do is get the inner radius value and the outer radius, and the difference between that is considered the width. So that's what we're going to do right now. So copy that and then enter here. Say this is outer radius. Get all of these values, and then I'm going to say we can do here the constant width of, or thickness, I guess Doughnut thickness, nice name, Doughnut thickness equals outer radius, which is larger, compared to minus the inner radius. Once we do this, we get this thickness here, we can just put it in here, and I will just deduct it here as well, so it will get the right size. And as you can see here, this is the size, but it is not yet right coordinates. So what we could do is, if I want to push it up, we could do the following. Remember here, this is the y, stands for 0, but we already know the outer or the inner radius position. So what I can say here, inner radius, copy that, and then we're going to say here, our starting point will be not the Doughnut thickness, it's probably like this, or 0, let's do this one first, minus that. Alright, that doesn't change yet, so what I need to do here is probably, I guess we have to push that higher, or, sorry, this maybe needs to be the outer radius, of course. Save it, refresh, there we are. That's the one, because the inner radius is this part, outer radius is that. So this looks all fine, so let's cross-check this if this really responds properly. We're going to say here, cut out, and we're going to say this will be now 90%. So that means that the thickness will be more narrow, and you can see it automatically adjusts itself nicely. Of course, to make this pointer more visual, I want to expand this a little bit on both sides. So what I can do here, the outer radius, and then we can say the Doughnut thickness, let's say plus 12 pixels. If I save this, there you are, it sticks out, but I want to stick out on both sides, so I can push this a little bit up. If this is 12, the half of it here should be minus 6, so it will be 6 pixels up. There we are, 6 pixels up, 6 pixels down. Perfect. So now we have this here, but what about the rotation? Because right now it's just in the center, it doesn't have any rotation. That's why we have to translate. Translate, change the coordinates, and now we can play around with ctx.rotation, or rotate to be exact. However, rotate requires a value, and we're going to use here a clever way of doing it. It's just because this is 180 degrees, and we have here like the value we want to do is like 6. 6 would be 66.6%. So we need to calculate the percentage of this 180 degree. To do that, I need to have first a rotation or the radiant to calculate. So I'm going to say constant angle. I want to get the angle of a single one of them and how many pixels that would be. So I'm going to say math.pi divided by 180 degrees. The reason why is 1 pi equals a half circle, 2 pi is a full circle. So a half circle is 180 degrees. So once we have this here, we can probably now start to play around with the angle and say angle here multiplied by 10. Let's see what happens then. If I do this, you can see here it is moving, but this is considered the center. So I want to go here. So how do I do this? So in this case, we probably have to recalculate that one. And I think we need to have the starting point set here. To do that, what we could do is probably in here, I'm going to say here constant. And we're going to say here, this will be the target pointer, I guess rotation or the value, rotation. Alright, and this one will be based on what? Well, we need to know what is the value, or this is the percentage. So let's see, how do we change that? Well, we can change it by doing the following. We just want to make sure what is the pointer value here, or the data point percentage. I'm just going to grab this. This is basically the pointer value. I realize this should be the pointer value percentage, or the pointer value. Although it is a percentage, but whatever this value is here, that needs to be, maybe I see that we should just give it like that. Copy that. This one here later on will be a pointer value. So what I'm going to do here, constant pointer value. This is right now 6. That's the one we want, but later on we're going to recalculate that, or make this soft coded like that, and this could be any other way. So what I'm going to do here now is that we have this pointer value in percentage. What I want to do with that is, let me double check. And then I realize that this should not be like that, sorry. So what we need to do is we just get the value of 6, because we want to get the rotation of the percentage for that one, and then divide by that. This is, later on we can just put a text in here, I guess that can be another item. But here I need to calculate the balance based on 180 degrees. So once I did that, if I copy this and then put it here into what the angle is, save, refresh. So right now you do not see it, and the reason why we don't see it yet is that this is based on 180, but it starts here up. So that would mean that I need to deduct that, because what happens is it goes down here. We can cross check that. If I do 90, what happened? 90 is here. Alright, that's interesting. It's quite off, but anyway. What I will do is 180, but then I will say minus 90 degrees. Let's see if that works. Alright, we get now something here. Cross check what is the real value on this to know how many items we have. Save that, return, refresh. Alright, we have 30. And then, if I'm not mistaken, this is the value of 6. Alright, so that would mean that we are 1/3 of it, or 2/3. And I guess that 30 here can be even ignored. That has no meaning for us right now. What does is that if I change this to 0, it should hit this point. There we are. If you look at it very carefully, it is slightly above, and the reason why is because of the it draws from here and then upwards. So what I need to do is I need to push this probably a few pixels down, but if I do here 9, I should hit that one as well. So I'm going to say here 9, save that. There we are. So that needs to be recalculated properly. So what I'm going to do here is on our round rack, we can say plus, and then we can do here the thickness of our item. It's 12, or that was 10, so that would mean, let's say, plus 5. So it's half of the width. That's it. Plus 5. Round rack. Let's see if I do here now 0, we should have something. Alright, interesting. So instead of plus 5, maybe I need to do negative 5. There we are. Okay. And then, if I do 9, we should hit the other side, other half. As you can see here, it slices exactly in the half. What we can do for that, just to solve that, is do the following. Go up here. in the options, comma, I'm going to say layout, then I'm going to say padding, then I'm going to say here padding bottom, and give it a 5, let's say 10 pixels. Save that, refresh, there we are. Now we have not sliced the pointer, and I think this is quite nice. Cross-check this one more time. If I do 6, there we are. So what we could do is we could put the value maybe here in the center as an other item in here. So we're going to say here, that is restore. I'll just put it in here, and we say here the text. So we say ctx.font equals, say here bold, we can give this a 12 pixels, or let's say a 30 pixels, sans serif. Then I'm going to say here ctx.fill style and give it a color, and I'll just give it black for now. Then we're going to say ctx.fill text, and the fill text would be, we want to have 66%, and that should be a string value. There we are. Then we need to have here the x and y value. The x and y value, we could basically use x center, y center to be in the exact center here. So we say x center, y center, save that, refresh. Alright, ctx fill text. Do we have that one? Let's cross check this quickly, see if this all works nicely. Fill text. And of course, sorry, this is my bad. Why it doesn't work, I was just slightly confused because we have to restore here. I want to cut this out, I want to restore here, or you could leave it in here, you can say 0, 0. It's one or the other, because we have still the memory of this before it restores to undo whatever we did here above. But I think we can do it without, because it's rotating us along. So I'm just going to cut this, put it in here, copy these two, put that back here, save, refresh. There we are. That looks much better, but it's not really in the center. So I'm going to say here ctx.text align. Then I'm going to say yes, center, save. There we are. We could maybe do a baseline or something by saying ctx.text base line, and then we're going to make this bottom, so it will push everything up slightly. There we are. That looks quite nice. Then this here, I think this should be like 50 or something like that. There we are. So now we have this hard coded. Let's soft code this value here. We have here the percentage value. If I put that in here, we should get something, but there we are, we get far too much. So what I want to do here, just to make it very simple, I'm going to say here dot to fix one digit. But what I want to do is use template literal, so backtick, so you can put a string value as well between them, because I want the percentage sign. So I'm going to do here curly braces because this is a variable, and then percentage sign, save, refresh. There we are. That looks absolutely phenomenal, and now it is perfect.